bombshell that dropped, I think, Thursday, and the media never covered it. And when this happened, we were in the office watching it saying, if the media doesn't cover this, they're dead. And they have there should be absolutely a repeal of 230.
Oh, 100%.
They need no quarter at this point, and that's not a call to violence. I'm talking about informationally. They cannot be considered legitimate. They can't be considered authoritative. Time to fact check the fact checkers.
Fact check. Fact checkers. Fact checkers. Fact check.
For people who hadn't watched this, this is what happened, what was dropped at the Georgia hearing. There were a lot of claims made at the Georgia hearing about people who were underage voting, people from out of state. There are more than enough of those verifiable claims to not only overturn the state of Georgia, but they far exceed the margin of victory. We'll get into Dominion in a second. These are different facets, but I want to try and distill this for you. This one is very important to me because it is a clear-cut example of all of these sort of, I guess you would say, cogs in the wheel. The media, local election officials, state election officials, national election officials, and big tech disseminating information that is completely false. Then when verifiable evidence produces this result, shows us that it is verifiably false. They say, oh, well, no, that was a game of telephone. We misspoke, and everyone in the media misspoke, and everyone at big tech misspoke, and Senator Hirono in Hawaii misspoke. And just, you know what? It was one big misunderstanding. There is no accountability. So this is we remember this because we were election night. Let me set this up for you. Election night. We were covering for, what was it, 14 hours, something like
that? Including both streams.
And we talked about how in Georgia, machines went down, stopped working. Like, oh, okay. And then I remember covering live a pipe burst, so they had to stop counting
in Georgia. Go
back. I don't want to. This is our own show. We didn't have time to go through 14 hours of footage, but it did happen on election night.
It's a lot.
And I need to tell you this. I'm going to hold myself accountable. I provided you with misinformation accidentally. Why? Because ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox News, everyone said a pipe had burst, and so they were going to resume counting later. We didn't know at that moment in time that when they said we were going to resume counting later, they meant right now. So I presented you with misinformation because I believed that a pipe had burst on me. I'm holding myself accountable.
There you go.
It doesn't look like that happened, and they did not stop counting. But that's what all of us were fed the night of the election. Everyone, and I will prove to you in graphic detail. So I apologize. Some of these videos are a little bit long, but I think you need the context, and this should be really the only segment that you need on this topic. I always recommend that you go to louderwithcrowder.com, check the sources, check auxiliary sources, make sure that I'm right, you're right.
Link in the description.
But this is something you can share with people who don't understand it. So we were told they stopped counting, a pipe burst. People were, that's what we were told.
People were supposed to go home. No more counting was going to happen.
But then they said, well, hold on a second. No one was sent home. That was their defense after that. No one was sent home, actually. That's a lie. And that only came up because of sworn affidavits from people saying, hold on a second, we were sent home. They continued counting. Now we have video from 4 different angles showing that people were sent home and they continued counting. This is a 2-minute video, but it's important to watch. This was shown at the Georgia hearing that you never saw.
According to the witnesses, the Republican observers, there is a lady who has blonde braids who comes out to announce we're going to stop counting. Everyone go home. And in fact, we see that. What happens is everyone clears out. So what you're going to see, look at the ladies in yellow. You'll see that they will begin just sitting still, doing nothing, ostensibly not working, because after all, they said they're going to stop counting. They will wait until the witnesses over there in that roped off area, the press and the observers, leave the room. Then you'll see them move into action and begin scanning ballots. Once everyone is gone, coast is clear, they are going to pull ballots out from underneath a table. There you go. So now they're going to start pulling these ballots out from underneath.
Notice that lady in the purple, because we'll go back to her in a little bit.
This table, the black one, was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids. Okay, so 821. You'll notice the table's not there at all. Here it comes. There's the table going in that we're talking about where the ballots were obscured. That lady who's moving it is the lady with the blonde braids. She's dressed differently in the morning, so it took us a while to figure out that's the same person that you see at night with the blue apron on who's yelling for everyone to leave and who stays behind to help tabulate ballots after they've all left. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table. So he just pulled one out. So what are these ballots doing there, separate from all the other ballots? And why are they only counting them whenever the place is cleared out with no witnesses? these machines can process about 3,000 ballots an hour.
That's pivotal because
You
we'll
have
show some numbers there that
multiple
matter.
machines there.
I know it's off-putting
And
to
they're
listen
there
to
for 2
Elizabeth Holm from
hours.
Theranos
So you
narrate
do the
this.
math. We believe that could easily be, and probably is certainly beyond the margin of victory in this race. Because if it's only 3 scanners working for 2 hours, right, that's 18,000 ballots that went through. And so if we were to sit here for the next 2 hours, what we would see is that this operation just goes on and on and on.
And what was interesting was for several days, Snopes, factcheck.org, Washington Post, no Pinocchios,
no
PolitiFact meter, no mostly true, mostly false, nothing. It was only fact-checked from some broad who's a photographer in Seattle.
Yeah.
Qualified.
And then they came up with the explanation. First off, they said, well, those aren't suitcases. Okay, they look like
Fine.
suitcases. And they tried to say, well, actually, the bins were empty. No, they weren't empty. Then they said, well, actually, they filled the bins with the press there. And it's, okay, none of this matters. Let me explain to you why. But first, their primary defense is no burst pipe, right? No pipe actually burst. And the poll watchers weren't sent home. This is what they're saying now when they claim they've debunked this video.
The water pipe leak and the events on the surveillance video did not happen on the same night. Those 2 events occurred 17 hours apart. How do we know? We were there.
Early this morning, we were told there is.
Why are you wearing a Target jacket?
The workers leaving were those who opened the ballot envelopes, and once they were done processing that batch, they went home.
At about 10 o'clock, there was one person working the polls who told everyone in the room to leave.
No announcement was ever made to leave.
Was anyone actually told to leave, or just that they were done
Purple
counting?
lady.
They
There you
were
go.
made to leave. So it was done in contravention of the statute.
Both 11 Alive journalists on site that night independently confirmed to me that they were not told to leave, but they were told counting was done for the night.
Okay, well, first off, that's important because then the guy said, no, counting. We clearly saw the counting didn't stop.
Yes.
No. Yeah.
How is that better?
Pick a bullshit lane, right? This is also why they don't want to admit, like, no, we all left. And by the way, the people you say right there, this is the difference. This is what's important. It's like fighting somebody else when you have a 100-pound vest on.
Yeah.
Are they under oath, under penalty of perjury? The people who told you that? Because the people who went along with your original story are. And they said they were told to go home, which is what you told us. So we have what you told. This is what they're saying now.
Yep.
But it doesn't matter because that's not what you told us. And I don't just mean a couple of people online with internet conspiracy theories. What I mean is the night we covered the election, every single major news media outlet, including the place that airs Sesame Street, PBS. We need to have subpoenas, members of the press and the election officials. Okay, members of the press, did you willingly lie? Or were you given false information, in which case the election officials should be held under oath under penalty of perjury? Because both groups can't have made a mistake.
Right.
Both groups can't have made a repeated mistake, and now you just go, oh, well, hold on a second, we made a mistake. Someone needs to be held accountable, because on election night, this is the exact story you saw everywhere.
There is now a hitch in the tabulation of votes. I'm standing in Fulton County. Fulton County includes a chunk of Atlanta. Downtown Atlanta is State Farm Arena, where the Atlanta Hawks play. They are tabulating the absentee ballots of Fulton County, Georgia's most populous county. A water pipe has broken inside the arena. They had counted 86,000 absentee ballots. We don't know how many more they have yet to tabulate, but all the tabulation of those ballots has now stopped.
Also, there was a water pipe that burst in the State Farm Arena where they're tabulating votes. At least 50,000 votes, we believe, right there were paused.
So CNN and NBC need to fire people.
It caused, according to officials, a 3 to 4 hour delay. They decided to stop counting last night.
We have only 24% in. And then Fulton has also been slow going. They were delayed because of a pipe that burst earlier.
And within half an hour of him arriving at 5 this morning, a pipe had burst at the State Farm Arena, where they were scanning and tabulating the last batch of mail-in and absentee votes.
From Georgia, apparently at the State Farm Arena, they were delayed 4 hours because of a water pipe burst in that room. And they don't expect, as you say, Bill, that Fulton County will come in for quite some time.
Fulton County, most populous county, it is Atlanta. They just stopped counting at 10:30 p.m. They stopped counting their absentee ballots. They said they'd pick it up in the morning.
Both fired and subpoena because they didn't stop counting.
Well, they did.
Hold on a second. Give me a fact check.
Fact check.
There we go.
They
It just
stopped
took a second.
counting every single
Yes.
person. Subpoena or fired. Take your pick. And then we go to the election official, Mr. Barron. Hold on a second. If this was a game of telephone, let's take this into account. Their argument is it was a game of telephone.
Yeah.
They're saying some people should go home, some people should. No. Everyone left, including the press. Then they signed sworn affidavits saying we were told to leave, and now you're saying no, they weren't, and the counting didn't stop. Yeah. It doesn't matter what the claim is now to debunk it, because you're debunking yourselves, and don't blame conservatives for, you know what? Shame on us. We trusted you. They didn't only report it the night of the election. They reported it the next morning after the election. It was a continued story until it was repeatedly debunked. First, no pipe burst. Well, it was a toilet seal. Oh, a toilet seal? Why would that affect the outcome of voting? How big of a pansy are you? Listen, we're government workers and or volunteers.
Yeah.
We don't have the Constitution to do this. You ever had a paper cut?
Yeah, and if this is true, then they only corrected the record a month later, after the video came out. And so why didn't they do this ahead of time? Why didn't they realize what they said?
Do you know when this happened, by the way? So let's follow this timeline. Pipe burst, people were sent home.
Yeah.
Okay, now they say no, but at that time, pipe burst, people were sent home. They said counting stopped. Counting didn't stop, and it happened. At the time, there was a massive voting spike for Biden.
Weird. Oh, wow. Who knew?
Fact check.
That almost seems like it was planned.
Now, granted, could be totally unrelated. Yeah. Also, this is something I have a problem with. We're saying they can count 3,000 votes per hour, but you have many precincts that have far exceeded what the machines could actually process. So who's to say 3,000, 30,000, 100,000? Screw you, you're crazy for asking questions.
Right. Well, look, the law just clearly states it doesn't matter if it was a suitcase or an election box transporter, whatever it was, it doesn't matter. They're not supposed to be counting votes in that situation. They shouldn't all go inert, right? They shouldn't all just sit there and freeze, and then 45 seconds, 5 minutes, whatever it was, later go, oh, let's start counting again when no one's here.
They were playing musical chairs.
Yeah. Exactly.
And they walked out and they started playing Semisonic again. I know I want to take me home. Well, I am so tired of the lies right now and that anyone is actually buying it. And the only reason is because the media is blocking.
Yeah.
No accountability. You guys let us know when we're wrong all the time. But that purple lady, here she is earlier, again, while we're talking about the chain of custody and absentee ballots, and a lot of people could miss something very important here.
I'm gonna let y'all see this. Okay, don't say nothing. Listen, look.
Some secret.
Don't say anything.
But you are broadcasting it.
Right. She don't know how
it's
to
like Anderson Cooper
work.
going, shh, to everyone, to the 9 people in the airport who watch him.
Secret between me and the internet.
Yeah. Don't worry, I can just delete it. It's not like it's forever.
So that's what's going on in Fulton County.
Listen to this.
Voter registration. Sir, can I have some work?
Verk and Spurgen.
Give me that 30 minutes.
30 minutes?
Uh-huh.
That's all you give me.
I ain't going to give you but 5. I come to work, y'all, and they talk about me. Oh, they talk about me.
Seems like there's some drama there, but I think I understand why.
I didn't want to work. Oh, Dion, thank you. Thank you, love. When I didn't want to work, I took off for 10 days. Now I'm back at work.
Maybe that's what they talk about you.
Maybe. Because I come to work.
But now you're here. Okay, good. That's how it works.
Thank you, sir. Settled. Oh, you're going to give me... Oh, you just gave me one. God bless you real good. Thank you.
This is pivotal. This is pivotal. Look at that, folks.
Ain't no such thing. I'm going to be here till 7 o'clock.
Then I'm on leave for 4 weeks.
I came to work.
Look at that. For people who don't know what they're watching, I'll go back to it.
Don't mind Miss Ruby.
I'm going to be counting those. I got a lot to fill out counting those absentee ballots. Yeah. First off, anyone here who just decides they don't want to show up for 10 days, don't show up for all the days after the 10.
Yeah. But I didn't want to work.
And by the way, expect me to talk about you. I'm a big gossip like that. Yeah. For people who don't know what that is, let's bring up that screen.
Yeah.
Those are absentee ballots with no return address. Now, but she's got work to do.
Yeah.
The guy is bringing in fat stacks, I believe, is how they're commonly referred to. Fat stacks of absentee ballots with no return address, which she just said on camera she is going to fill out. You cannot, first off, you don't fill out if there's no return address. That's objection, Your Honor. I'll walk around, shut up, you weren't here for 10 days. You don't even know what an objection is. You weren't here for the orientation.
Stop talking about me.
Objection. Stop, yo, gossiping ass. And there's no one there. So we are now talking about a lady who was bringing in those bins, as we saw earlier, and there are more videos circulating that we haven't been able to verify yet, who on that night, after being MIA for 10 days, is filling out absentee ballots with no return address there and no watchers. Who's to say those aren't the ballots when they say people were doing the cutting and they put the ballots into the bins while the press was there, and then later they were just running them through the tabulator? Who's to say they aren't those? Again, this all coincides when you look at the incident with a massive voting spike for Biden in a state that is not really a swing state. Yep. They want you to feel alone. People are saying, why are you fighting a losing battle with this election deal? Listen, I don't know that it's a losing battle, and it doesn't matter. Let me explain to you something. Someone who only picks fights that they know they will win is a bully, okay? Someone who only picks fights that they know they will lose is a fool. We don't know that we will win this fight, but I do know that we can win this fight, and you all have to get off your ass and do something. And that means writing your local representatives. That also means, by the way, getting out there and protesting in person in these states. Let's show them what actual peaceful civil unrest looks like, because they're in for a rude awakening. And something else that's really important, by the way, a lot of this is going to go to the Supreme Court. Doesn't necessarily have to, because it can go to the state electors. They can certify the election however they want. The Supreme Court, don't think that the Supreme Court is beyond the politics of public opinion, okay?
Right.
The Supreme Court, they're not going to be willing to stick their necks out for something, even if they know it's right, if they know that they will be burned down for doing so. All the Supreme Court needs is enough of you to make them understand that there are Americans out there, there's a large enough portion of Americans who want what is right to be done. Give them the courage, the balls, if I may, to stick their neck out for you. That's why you can't go away quietly right now. There are some victories. There's a victory in seizing Dominion machines. We'll get to that in a second. There are victories in moving up some of the court dates. We'll get to that in a second. So this idea that there isn't any headway being made, you're not paying attention.
Watch Good Morning Mug Club live every Monday through Thursday at 10:15 Eastern.